Yeah, thank you, Dr. Matebula. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I've been introduced, my name is Sipho Mosai. I'm the Group Chief Executive of Rainwater. Just before we get into the specifics of why we're here in detail, I thought I should first start by introducing Rainwater in terms of what we do and what role do we play in the water supply value chain, and possibly make linkages with our municipalities and the department that is in here. Then specifically with respect to this media briefing, I'll then go into the details of what we're doing, why are we doing maintenance, where are we doing it, how long it will take at strategic level, and later on during Q&A, if there are any detailed questions with respect to the program itself, we'll be here to take those questions and respond to them during Q&A. Just in terms of who we are, Rainwater is a water trading entity. We buy bulk water in large quantities, and that is raw water from the Department of Water and Sanitation. We add value to that water by purifying it and supplying it in bulk, i.e. large quantities to the municipalities. The municipalities then take that water from our reservoirs, distribute or reticulate it to individual households with a network of infrastructure so that water reaches our individual homes. So the top end of the value chain, we have the Department of Water and Sanitation, of course, operating, maintaining, upgrading, refurbishing the raw water infrastructure. That includes dams, and we abstract water from the Val Dam. Val Dam is part of what we call integrated Val River system that is made up of quite a number of dams and river bodies that are fed by other dams in Lesotho and other transfer schemes that brings water into the Val River system. We abstracted from there. We then gravitated to our two purification works, Vereeniging and Zekerbosch. This is where then we treat water. After we've treated that water, we pump that water from those purification works. That is why interchangeably we call them Vereeniging and Zekerbosch pump stations, because we not only purify there, we pump. We pump that water to our what we call booster stations. From our booster stations, we further pump that water. In certain areas, we have tertiary pump stations, and that take all that water through a network of pipes, put it into the reservoirs from which the municipalities then draw. To the east of our water supply value chain in bulk quantities, we have what we call Mapleton system. This Mapleton system supplies water to the east part of our value chain. That will be the east of Gauteng, our municipalities in Mpumalanga. That will obviously include Ekurhuleni and the east part of Tshwane East or Pretoria East, if you like. There's a small amount of water that is also supplied to Joburg through the Mapleton system. So this is the system to the west, fed by Vereeniging and Zekerbosch purification works. To the west, we have what we call Aikenhof system. I'm mentioning this system because they are relevant to the maintenance that we're going to carry out. You'll see as we communicate, we indicate which system will be affected. So to the east we have, no, to the west now, we have Aikenhof system. This system supplies water to the west part of our value chain. This is Johannesburg West, Merafo, Western, all the western side municipalities outside Johannesburg, and all the way to Rustenburg. So the Aikenhof system affects or supplies water to any point to the west of our value chain. So if you can put the picture in your mind, to the west range, Aikenhof system, and all the way to northwest. Remember, we supply water to not only Gauteng, but to Mpumalanga, Free State, and Northwest. So the Aikenhof system takes water to those areas. But to the south, we also have what we call Vereeniging van der Bay Park system. In essence, it takes water from Vereeniging and supplies areas of, as it says, Sasolburg, Vereeniging, and Van der Bay Park. It's called VVS system. Central in Gauteng, in the main, we've got two systems over and above the three that I've mentioned. We have Swartkopies system, which is by far the smallest of all the systems. If you put the four main ones next to it, but next to it we have what we call Palmead system. Palmead system is the biggest system that supplies water mainly to the city of Johannesburg, to Ekurhuleni, Malibeng, and parts of Tshwane as well. So it is by far the biggest system in our operations. So as you will appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, for us to pump water, reticulate it, and get it where it ought to get for the municipality to draw it from us, we have to, on a continuous basis, operate, maintain, upgrade, refurbish, and rehabilitate our infrastructure. This set of assets, infrastructure, operate 24/7, 365. At one stage, we have to take this system out, maintain it, upgrade it, and refurbish it. Because we operate this system around the clock, it goes beyond saying that as we do so, some areas, some parts of our value chain will therefore be affected at a given period of time at varying degrees. In certain instances, I get this often, but although we do maintenance, there are areas that are not affected because maintenance is specific to an area and is informed by our maintenance program. How do we then decide what tool do we use to make a determination as to what are we maintaining, when are we maintaining, and when are we maintaining? Rainwater, for a number of years, we have adopted what we call asset life cycle management program or strategy. In essence, this asset life cycle management strategy, it informs what we call infrastructure development program that looks at an infrastructure that we need to maintain, upgrade, and refurbish in the now and going forward. This strategy is divided into three phases. The first phase is called the baseline phase. In essence, in this baseline phase, we plan in advance. Our planning is of 20-year cycles. So the infrastructure that we laid, and I'll speak to that a bit later on, is infrastructure that we planned in 2009. So our upgrades goes on as periodic cycles of about 20 years. So in the baseline phase, we plan, we get all these plans into programs, into projects, we execute, and then we upgrade our infrastructure to meet the current and the future demands. So what we have seen to give fruition to the baseline phase, you'll recall in 2023 in February, as Rainwater, we launched the biggest in the world, a post-tension pre-stress concrete reservoir at 210 megaliters. This storage facility is in Vlakfontein Farm, and we call it Vlakfontein Reservoir in Ekurhuleni. It's intended as part of our upgrade to augment the system to store water for now and going forward It helps the Mapleton system, specifically Ekurhuleni, Pretoria East, and our municipalities in Mpumalanga. The second flagship project as part of our upgrade, so that we don't talk about these life cycle strategies. I'm giving you living examples of the things that we have delivered. In December last year, we have launched the biggest purification works since the dawn of democracy at 600 megaliters here in Vereeniging in Stellenbosch. And indeed, that project will be finally completed and will derive the whole benefit of 600 megaliters of water a day. And next year already, we are taking close to 150 million liters and slightly more from Stellenbosch. So that gives effect to the first phase of our infrastructure, which we call baseline. The second phase and the third phase, which is why we're here, the second phase is the operations, maintenance, and include repairs in it. If we have infrastructure and it goes to operate around the clock, you have to take it out for maintenance, and for few reasons, and I'll just mention two. One, any asset that you lay, whether it's civil, whether it's mechanical, whether it's automation, and otherwise, it got a lifespan. And that asset, for it to take you, and so that we can make it sweat to derive the most benefit out of it, for it to take you to its end of life project or cycle, rather, you have to maintain it. So there are two types of maintenance, planned and unplanned maintenance. If you don't do planned maintenance, the infrastructure takes it out. It's unplanned maintenance. So for infrastructure to reach its end of life, you have to proactively do maintenance, but to avoid, which is the second reason, the unnecessary and many breakdowns that are not planned, unscheduled, you have to do planned maintenance. So to avoid breakdowns and ensure that we get most out of the assets and supply water, for now and beyond, you have to do planned maintenance. You'll see, if you look at the program that we have issued, there's an element of repairs and maintenance that comes with it. But most importantly as well, the last phase of our asset lifecycle management strategy is what we call end-of-life phase. In the end-of-life phase, what you do condition assessment. You look at the assets and the infrastructure that you can repair, renew, rehabilitate, to even take you beyond their life cycle. So we have also done that. And then you'll see in the program what we have come out with from the condition assessment is what we call renewable strategy. In here you have assets that need to be replaced and refurbished. So we have taken an opportunity as we do maintenance to look at those assets that need to be replaced, to be refurbished, so that they take us beyond their life over and above the maintenance that we are doing. So in totality, what we are doing refurbishment, we are doing replacement, we are doing maintenance. Why now? And this is the question that I get asked almost all the time. Some people are saying, why didn't you do it during the elections? Some people are saying, why did you do it before the elections? Of course, ours is not driven by the political timetable. Ours is driven by our plans in terms of asset lifecycle management. And indeed, from time to time, like you do with your car, if it can take you a little bit longer, before you take it out, you do. But we choose this period of time because, theoretically speaking, during the winter months, the demand drops. So we want, during this period of time, to do all these maintenance, repairs, and ensure that when we get to the summer months, we have been able to do the repairs to an extent possible, meet all the growth demands and the water usages in those months. So we choose, if you like, this period of time to ensure that we keep our maintenance going. So if you look at, if I may, before I step down, in terms of the program that we have started at the tail end of this month, which is June, and we've really been hard at work, and it has been communicated extensively, and even through our various platforms. You notice that we communicate as and when we move from one area to another. I'm happy to report that since we started quite a number of interventions, particularly in the Aikenhof system that has affected Johannesburg water, most of the work has been completed. The system is recovering. We understand, and it's understandable, that some areas will recover before the others, and some areas will recover later. Because, as we have explained before, that when you take out the system, you completely empty the pipes and the reservoirs run low. You first have to fill the reservoir fill the pipes, then push water into the distribution network. So invariably, areas that need pressure, that need high amounts of water storage in our reservoirs and Joburg water reservoirs will take a bit of time. And the MD will indicate what those areas are that are still needing to recover, and those that have, of course, recovered. As it has been indicated, we are going to start work in the permit system. This is the biggest of all 4 systems. And I think what we will do to help the Aikenhof system recover, will move water around so that we have additional water that we can supply into the Aikenhof system to enable it to recover while we have reduced the permit water supply. So we anticipate that areas that will be affected in the permit system, as I indicated, will be the city of Ekurhuleni and some parts of Johannesburg. You'll notice that in all the systems, not every area is affected. We are looking at the areas that will only be affected during this period of time. What I also need to mention is that the interventions are relatively different in one area or another, and what we have also done in terms of our civil infrastructure, our pipe network, we always strive to ensure that there's flexibility in our network. By flexibility, we're talking about what is known as load shifting. In essence, a term that was publicized last year is not a new thing to us. We have network of pipes. These pipes can feed one system to another interchangeably. So our process controllers in our control rooms are always looking at the system, looking at where the demands are, and in areas where the demand is higher, whereas on the others are lower, the process controllers are able to move water around. If our pipes are not connected, we will not be able to do so. So you will see in most areas we're talking flexibility of our pipelines. What we're also doing during this period of time is what we call tie-ins. Remember, in terms of the first phase, which is the baseline phase, as rainwater, and you must have seen a lot of pipes everywhere in our area of operation. We've been laying all these pipes. So what we need to do is to have them tie in, connect with other pipes so that we can start using them. We have not been able to connect them during high demands, so this will give us that flexibility. So there's an element of it in what we want to do. We've also gone into some of our purification works, specifically in Vereeniging, where we've been cleaning our sedimentation tanks. Sedimentation is one of the process of treating water, and we believe if we do so and we remove a lot of silt, it will give us an additional treatment capacity And indeed, areas that are dependent on the Vereeniging water system will have an increased amount of water. We're also doing a lot of electrical works in terms of the boards that we're installing, mechanical works, and of course switch gears. And we are also replacing a lot of meters in the program as we go along. And mechanically, we're also repairing some of our pumps and replacing those pumps. So at a high level, this is what we are doing. We are doing it for the benefit of water supply, assurance of supply going forward, so that we don't have too many failures that are unplanned. So it is important that we do so proactively. We do understand that there will be those that are inconvenienced. As the President is saying, it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. We do need to go through this sacrifice, because in the longest of terms, when we do maintenance, when we do repairs, when we renew, rehabilitate our infrastructure, we will reduce indeed substantially the number of outages. So we just want to request all those that are affected or may be affected going forward to bear with us. We understand the pain and suffering when the system does not recover. We understand water is a basic human right and it has to be in our households. But we are working together with all our municipalities. That is why we gathered here, to ensure at the system level, seamlessly, to an extent possible, everybody is affected to the very least of the extent. So for those that have water, it is important that the message also gets through to you. Use that water sparingly. Please, it's winter. I want to believe that the automatic systems that fill your pools are off. And if you can, please use water for drinking water purposes for individuals and water in the homes. We need that water to move it around in the shortest possible time to ensure that the system recovers quickly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mosai. We are going to get a status update from the city of Transcript through the MD for Joburg Ward, Mr. Mkwebo.